Good morning. How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Wednesday, halfway through the work week here. 10:52 a.m. California time. June 18th, 2025 is the date. Latest activity shows a little point 4 across California in the green flag. We got some activity stirring up there in New Zealand this morning. Got a pretty good cluster of earthquakes there around South Island, New Zealand, with at least one 5-pointer. Let's go ahead and see what we got going on down here. USGS reporting this 5.1 a couple hours ago. Just off the plate boundary. Of course, got to worry about the Alpine fault that sits here across the western area of South Island, New Zealand. That's been building up some steam here for a little while. Let's go ahead and check out, see what GeoNet servers are reporting on this earthquake activity. Bring up GeoNet. There we go. And see what's going on down here across South Island. Need to bring up all magnitudes because I don't think anyone felt that 5-pointer down here. Possibly, but let's see what these guys are reporting. There's that one earthquake. They're reporting as a 5.2 away from populated areas there of New Zealand, so that's why it's just showing up as a weak because of the distance there. But the importance of this is the location of these earthquakes here, just south of the Alpine fault, just off the plate boundary here. Now, we've been getting a little bit of activity stirring up down here lately, and if I recall, we've had a little bit larger movement other than this in the past 30 days. A little bit of activity, 4.6 up north here, closer. I believe that's on the Alpine fault here back in early this month. So a lot going on. And a lot of potential here. I notice on the New Zealand map that this map is a little glitchy here. Not a whole lot of activity stirring up on the Alpine fault. Most of it well north, but we're getting a lot of activity north along the plate boundary, and now a lot of activity south here of the Alpine fault, and that leaves this as a middle point boundary where a lot of strain has been building out here. In fact, it's been over 300 years since the last major rupture on the Alpine fault, which is capable of producing a magnitude 8.0. It does have a history of ruptures roughly every 300 years, and the last major rupture was over 300 years ago, making a large earthquake on the fault increasingly likely. Got to watch that, folks. This is just one of many areas around New Zealand that's well overdue for some large earthquake activity. It is a 600-kilometer, 370-mile long fault system there along the plate boundary. Scientists believe there's or estimate a 75% probability of a large earthquake, magnitude 8 or greater, occurring on the fault within the next 50 years. With all this activity stirring up north of it here along the plate boundary in the North Island and south of it here recently, I tell you what, now's a better time than ever to be prepared and watch for some potential larger earthquake activity on the Alpine fault here. That could do quite a bit of damage across the area for sure. So continuing to watch that. Got a swarm of activity stirring up there just south along the plate boundary today, including that 5.1 and a number of other 3s in there as well. Watch closely, New Zealand. Further out and about, we'll go ahead and check out west coast here of California. Around the San Francisco Bay Area, a number of earthquakes here today, starting to stir up a little bit on the Hayward Fault. Got this earthquake right here from early this morning on the Hayward Fault, 1.5. Couple earthquakes there on the Calaveras Fault Zone. Just an increasing amount of smaller microquake activity here overnight. Yesterday, not a whole lot showing up here, but looks like things are starting to move there across the Bay Area. Southern California, got that one earthquake here from yesterday, a 2.8 on the Elsinore Fault. Aside from that, generally small microquake activity out here today. I'm not seeing anything of major importance going on here. A little bit of clustering going on here at the northern end of San Jacinto, where it comes into the San Andreas Fault. But aside from that, Garlock Fault shear zone up here pretty active, but that's been a decent swarm of earthquakes here in the last couple months. I do want to show you guys real quick exactly how many earthquakes have struck out here. We're going to go magnitude 0, and we're just going to go back 3 months or so. We'll check out the Garlock Fault shear zone and show you guys how active it's been. And it's really not due to any main quake activity. It's just due to stress out there. This is a very dynamic zone. You can see it here on the topography of the map. It's kind of a left-pointing triangle shape, if you will, and that's where the strain builds up here along the plate boundary. Let me bring this up here real quick to show you guys. I don't want to get all of California in here because then it'd just be a huge cluster, but I want to show you guys the last 3 months here of all magnitudes in this area. I think we could do that. Yeah, so just over here, we got this earthquake swarm here. I'm going to switch this map up so you guys can see the terrain. 450 earthquakes in the last roughly 3 months here. And again, no main quake sequence. You don't get this many aftershocks from a 3.4, in which there was quite a few threes, a lot of twos, a lot of twos. I mean, I could understand if there was a 4.8 or even a 5-pointer seeing this amount of aftershocks, but this has not produced any main quake sequence of events yet. And I believe it firmly has to do with the interaction, the stress that's being produced here on the shear zone due to the strain that's accumulated up here on the plate boundary. The San Andreas Fault is overdue here for some big earthquake activity, specifically the southern end. But even stretching up here towards the Parkfield segment and back over here across the interchange of these two areas, it's got a lot of constrained stress on there. And that is a sign right here that it could be getting ready to go. I know the stress inland away from this area is a for sure sign. Getting that pressure transfer there off of the main plate boundary, seeing these other fault systems being strained, and more specifically the center portion here of the Garlock Fault shear zone. I mean, that's a lot of earthquake activity. Bunch of 3s and 2s and mini 1s and smaller quakes out there. And that is continuing to this day. The last one looks like early this morning. Got a little 1.8. So most of these from yesterday, and that's kind of why I think Southern California is a little bit quieter here today. We're looking at a little shifting of the transfer out here, or not transfer, but the plate stress out here. Looks like it's working its way a little bit northward here, but it's always there, and it's not going to go away until we get some big earthquake activity out here. And in this case, you know, the San Andreas Fault is not the only zone out here that's capable and ready to produce a big earthquake. We got many other fault systems out here through Southern California that are well primed for some big earthquake activity. The Puente Hills Thrust Fault, the Elsinore Fault, Malibu Coast Fault over here. You know, it's... Enjoy the map right now. It looks pretty quiet, but it's not going to stay that way. I don't know for how much longer, but things are stressed and strained out here, and the signs are starting to show. Washington and Oregon. Oregon's pretty quiet down there. Washington, one earthquake here outside of Seattle, 12 miles deep underneath this area early this morning. Nothing big going on here. Just a couple smaller microquakes. In the Idaho area, 2 more earthquakes this morning up north here, north of the Garlock or of the Sawtooth Fault system. Excuse me. Yesterday, we seen a number of earthquakes on the Sawtooth Fault system, and that's overdue as well. 4,000 years ago, they said there was a 7.5 out here. Previous to that, 7,000 years ago. So regular intervals, it looks like runs between 3,000 to 4,000 years or so. In terms of earthquake activity that's capable of a 7.5. And we got some activity stirring up on it yesterday. The majority of the swarm out here has been off of it and to the north and to the east here. And similar to the Garlock Fault shear zone in the pressure down there off the San Andreas Fault, we get this migrational pressure transfer there to other faults in the region when things are about ready to really kick up there on on a very well primed fault. So watch that. The Sawtooth Fault system, they're definitely showing some activity on it. This activity not associated with the Sawtooth Fault system directly, but pressure transfer off of that. All right, as far as the, let's see what else we got here across the area of the Plains area. Looks like that's from yesterday in Riverton, Nebraska. Some activity there in the oil fields of Texas this morning. Got... oil fields definitely rocking and rolling out here this morning with some earthquakes there. Eastern portion of the country, not a whole lot going on there for now. Middle America Trench, a number of earthquakes down here off the coast of Mexico and Guatemala. El Salvador region. Middle America Trench very active there in terms of large earthquake activity. You got a decent cluster going on there today. A lot of fours, even a couple fives stirring up there, as noted on the Earthquake 3D globe. Down in the Gulf here of California, just off the Baja California region, number of threes out there. So watch Southern California. I know we haven't had a lot of migration up northward here. Where's that 2.7? Let me see here real quick. There's that 2.8 from yesterday, but it does look like yeah, I don't know if well, there's a 1-pointer coming in right now, but looks like there's some activity stirring up down here that's not showing up on the USGS map. But I'll continue to watch that. Got a lot of activity potential for sure around the globe. Up in Alaska, a couple threes, ever increasing earthquake activity out there, and some around the subduction zone right now. Got one earthquake in the last hour, right about 9 miles into that subduction zone. Pull up the satellite view so you can see this trench, which is a major subduction zone capable of producing 9.0 earthquakes. The last decent sized earthquake was an 8-pointer out here, and roughly within this zone here back in 2021. See here, Japan, one earthquake over here at the southern end of the Nankai Trough, 25 miles deep. Watching these segments out here, there's about 5 of them here that seem to rupture at about the same time or within close time frame of each other. This section over here did not rupture back in 1944 when these others did. There's quite a bit of potential here for some large earthquake activity, and this is a region that got a mega quake warning put out for it last year because of all the elevated activity around it. Still haven't seen any earthquake activity on it as far as large release of pressure goes, but it's there. We got definitely some stress building up in that zone. South America, older activity here from yesterday. A little bit of northward migration here towards Peru with a 4.0. A couple other earthquakes in there as well. The Atlantic Ocean pretty quiet there. Mediterranean taking a back seat there for earthquake activity. Yeah, just a lot going on here across New Zealand right now. That it makes sense though, because if you think about this, over the last 7 days or so, and there's been some smaller quakes up here along the Kermadec Trench as well. A lot of deeper movement quakes, smaller but deeper. So we got all this activity north here along the plate boundary. A lot of activity shifting down south here along the Antarctica, Pacific plate boundary, the Australia area, and that. Let me go back here to my my map. Oh man, I don't know where it went to, but the separation here of the plates in the southern end normally adds stress upstream here towards the north. So it makes sense here to see, you know, the result of all these earthquakes applying further strain up into the New Zealand area, and that's, you know, it's something to watch right there. The Alpine fault got a lot of movement north and a lot of movement south. Just be prepared. Watch for that closely. All right, space weather activity. Just got to keep this a little short here. I don't even know what I'm at right now. 13 minutes. Okay, well, it's not really a short one, but flaring activity dropping off slightly here back into the C flare category, it looks like, but we're still sizzling a little bit. Notice that instability there on the chart. That is coming off of a couple different sunspots. Here's the sunspot that produced the X flare and a number of M flares recently. That is currently flaring with some C flare activity, capable. The sunspot definitely capable of producing up to maybe, you know, some more X flare activity. Also, newer sunspot back here, creeping around the eastern limb. Taking a look here at the magnetic complexity, 4116. Is that it? 4116? I thought that was 4114. Right? That's got to be 4114 here. I think Kevin messed up. See, yeah, even I caught that. Yeah, Kevin messed up here on his numbering. This is 4114. He's got 4116s in two areas. So this is 4114. That's the region to watch here. He watches my videos quite a bit here, so I'm sure he'll adjust it. But that just triggered in my brain. Wait a minute. last night when I was doing an update, I didn't name it 4116. It's 4114. That is the area that's produced the X flare activity and M flare and current C flare activity. It looks like it's joining this this other sunspot region here. Not for sure exactly what that's going to result in, but there's still quite a bit of complexity here within the main center of 4116 that does harbor some M flare and potential X flare activity as well. I guess a new number here, 4116. This kind of popped up out of the blue. If you look here from last night, well, is that it? 4116, or yeah, that'd be 4116 here. Yeah, it's not really all that impressive. Really not too concerning with that. But this newer area back over here does have some potential, as you can see. Quite a bit of intermixing of the colors there, indicating complexity. But watch 4114 here. That's the big one. All right, X flare still elevated at 25% chance. M flare at 75. C flare around 99% chance. No major auroras in the forecast for now. We'll get closer to the June 20th time period, and we'll check out maybe what's in store around that time period as far as aurora activity goes. Storm Prediction Center. Severe weather, all that severe weather from yesterday there in the southern plains, central plains area, now shifting further to the east. Got a decent tornado threat out there today as well, 10% around Illinois and Indiana, it looks like. Big time wind and a little bit of hail threats out there for your Wednesday, so just be on guard. Tomorrow, much further to the east as far as that severe weather shifting goes, but look back over here, another line of severe weather potential kicking up there across the northern plains, and it's just a rinse and repeat cycle out here. Let's check out Hawaii real quick, see what we got going on for the latest information. We'll go over here to the USGS site. Episode 26 is expected to begin here between June 18th and June 20th. We are currently sitting at the 18th, and a little bit of droppage here. Let's see what's going on. There's no new update here, but let's see what we got here for the webcams. Looks like there's been a little bit of lowering there of the magma below. No eruption, but it looks like something got displaced there. Normally when you see the deformation data drop like that, that means magma went somewhere. So that's a little interesting marking there on the over the last almost 6 hours or so. There's been a little change in that. Not a big one, but it looks like we've seen that in the last one as well. A little bit of a lowering, but I think, you know, unless something changes down below, we get a blockage and maybe this magma finds its way somewhere else. We should see episode 26, the next eruption here, start pretty soon, because we're up there in terms of the maximum level seen here in the last 25 episodes there across Kilauea Volcano. So watch for that. Close approach asteroids. Give a quick glance here at this. Newly discovered one that's coming in within about 83,000 miles. 13 foot though. That's not that big of a deal. Yeah, everything fairly safe out here. I'm not seeing anything of any significance, but notice the new ones always being added up here. There's thousands upon thousands of asteroids out here that are, you know, interacting with the planet on any given time. You know, this is the riskless objects. There's many other ones out here if you were to include the different types of asteroids, but this is just one of them, and it's neat to watch. You go over to neotools.neo, this website up here. It's kind of cool to see how close the planet gets to many of these smaller asteroids. There's, like I say, there's thousands of them around the planet at any given time. But we've been pretty lucky here not to get hit with any big ones. That's well south. But pretty neat deal. I like messing around with this. I was just checking out the Apophis asteroid. It's supposed to come pretty close to us here in a few years. And then again, a few years later, it's just it's amazing, the technology that we have out here to keep track of this stuff. Anyway, I got to jump off here, folks. Got somewhat of a busy day. Have yourself a wonderful Wednesday. Seismograph stations are offline, but they've been doing that over the past week or so, offline, and they'll come back online. I've tried resetting everything, updating everything. It's just some type of network issue here that periodically goes offline, but for now, it's working, and all the seismograph stations out there look pretty quiet. We'll catch you guys out here a little bit later on this evening, folks. Have yourself a wonderful day.